State's Attorney Mosby just finished speaking, man. What's your thoughts about it, man?
I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that those remaining trials are not taking place. I would submit to you that, quite frankly, though, she was under an unprecedented amount of pressure she should have never had to experience as a prosecutor, from the fraternal order of police to people trying to file paperwork to have her disbarred, to a petition by a candidate for Congress trying to get her to leave office. So the level of right-wing conservative pressure that she experienced was unprecedented, and I think it was political intimidation. They weren't just trying to intimidate her. They weren't trying to intimidate every single prosecutor in every single city across this country. And they were trying to intimidate black political leaders. They were trying to send a message that if you attempt to try to hold police officers accountable, we will publicly lynch you. And that is exactly what they attempted to do. What people don't know was that the state's attorney was under a gag order throughout all of these trials. So when things were being mentioned about her in the press, she couldn't defend herself. The gag order was lifted today because the charges against the remaining officers were dropped. And to be quite honest with you, it was clear that there was not an environment conducive to hold these officers accountable for the murder of Freddie Gray, and it was a murder. We know that Freddie was alive and well prior to coming in contact with the police. It was only after he came in contact with the police that he sustained injuries that led to his death. The Maryland Medical Examiner's Office, which is a branch of the government, they declared his murder a homicide, not a suicide. So somebody killed Freddie Gray. And before I shut down, the most important part that I want to say is that this is the difference between police brutality and black-on-black crime. Everybody's talking about that. The difference is that in black-on-black crime situations, the person who pulls the trigger is indicted. He is was prosecuted, indicted, convicted to the fullest extent of the law, and he's oftentimes jailed. In police brutality cases, we find that the officers are exonerated. They receive a paid vacation at the taxpayer's expense. And in the case of one of the officers in the Freddie Gray trial, they're actually suing the state for back wages. So that's the difference between police brutality and black-on-black crime. Black-on-black crime, there's accountability. Police brutality, there's no accountability.
Now, since the murder of Freddie Gray, how has the relationship been with the police officers here in Gilmor Homes?
I think there have been superficial attempts to try to bridge the relationship, but I think that the people here have lost so much with losing Freddie Gray. And then police brutality has not subsided. It has not stopped or reduced itself since Freddie Gray was brutally killed by the police. And in addition to the fact we see these heightened attacks on the state's attorney by the fraternal order of police. So I think that relationships have superficially gotten better, but in terms of substance, I don't think that the relationships have improved at all, because there can't be healing until first there is an acknowledgement of the fact that there is a problem. When we talk about police brutality, for a long time people didn't want to acknowledge it. And then when they did acknowledge it, they oftentimes talked about it in terms of a training issue or something of that sort. But we need to acknowledge, the system does, police brutality as violence. And they need to acknowledge it for criminal behavior the way that it is. And then once they acknowledge that, as a result of that acknowledgement, they have to prosecute, indict, and convict, and then jail police officers for killing unarmed African American men and increasingly women. They have to lose their pensions. And we have to set an example out of them the way they make examples out of average, everyday, hardworking citizens who can afford powerful legal representation every single day.
After what you heard today, where do we go from here?
Well, I think that the citizens, a line has been drawn. And I think the one thing that has been very clear is that the criminal justice system has said to us in so many words that the lives of black and brown and poor and working class people don't matter. So what that means is that we've got to come together. There's a saying that we have in these protests and demonstrations around the cities that we all we got, but we all we need. And so we have got to come together. We've got to build those networks, and we've got to become self-sufficient. We've got to help each other in ways that we haven't done probably in about 40 years. We've got to be our brothers and our sisters' keepers, because the criminal justice system and even our local government, unfortunately, we are forced to pay taxes to and to undergird and to subsidize and support. They have proven that they are not representing the interest of black people and working class people in cities like Baltimore. It's happening all over the country. But again, I want to make it clear, I stand behind the state's attorney. She was subjected to basically a public lynching at the hands of the Fraternal Order of Police and right wings and conservatives, not just from Baltimore City, but all over the state of Maryland.
I appreciate your time today.
Thank you, brother.
All right.
My shit.
Got my man Shorty out here on the grill, man. What's going on, man?
We about the community, man. See me sweating? Who you see out here doing this like me?
I don't see
I'm an
nobody out here.
advocate. This pays for my advocacy. This is how we pay for the message. This is how we control the narrative. See that toilet? I carry my shit wherever I go.
There you go. He was up in Philly with it. Y'all remember up in Philly?
I was up in Philly, the police picked my toilet up and carried my toilet. The police carried my toilet, dog. They was carrying my shit. Ain't shit changed in America. 400 years we've been here. Black men in America, black people in America, we are nomads. We are people without a nation, man. And y'all need to recognize that fact. When they wrote that Constitution, they wrote it with a white man's hand. At the time that they had the black man underfoot. Ain't shit changed, man. Freddie Gray ain't no different than Emmett Till. You've been killing black people in America for 400 years with no remorse, no regret.
Real quick, man, let me get your thoughts on that Mosby press conference today.
I don't approve of it. I didn't think that they was gonna ever convict them police, and the only reason that she took him to court was cause of the uprising. That's it. Let's stop being proactive and be proactive. Let's start being proactive instead of reactive. Let's start addressing these issues that are affecting our community now instead of waiting for Freddie Gray. Learn what being black and white America really is about, and confront white people with your blackness.
Let me ask you, big dog, what brings you out in Gilmor Homes today, man?
Dog, I go in any hood where it's about promoting good. It's about the good in the hood, and this is the good in the community. Look around. You got a moon bounce.
Moon bounce.
You got people giving away free food. And it's free to the community because the city ain't doing this. I feed the homeless. I'm good in any community that I go in, east, west, south, New York, Chicago, Philadelphia. We gotta start promoting the good in the hood and stop letting them control the narrative about the negativity in our community. The death and the murder. For every black man that die, I can show you 100 that wanna live. For every murder I show you, I can show you 1,000 motherfuckers trying to do the good in the community. But the media ain't gonna show that. So we gotta take control of that.
That's what's up.
And I blame where I came from, and I blame all my day ones. You know shows like Draymond, you better hope not say none. Damn boys, that handful. Then I hit him with the hotline. Chris Richie with the dance moves. Mosby with the dance.
Hey, give me a give me a garbage bag out the back of there.
Awesome 16, awesome 16. Playing dirty, not clean. Out front 4 seats, looking like a damn football team. All rapping one thing. Looking for revenge.
World famous toilet right here. Man, today on Real Talk was there. We out here in Gilmor Homes, man. Introduce yourself.
Abdul Salam, Baltimore, Maryland, Keys Development, also the West Coalition.
I want to take you back, man. I want you to take me back to the day of the uprising that took place in Baltimore and give your recollection of what happened that day, man.
First, my memory recalls, I was in Ground Zero. what you call ground zero for real. So if you're from Baltimore, I was in the old Lamel, which is on Duplin, which is now Connections Middle and High School. All right, first thing, we tried to usher as many of our students home as possible with parental supervision. That's the first thing we did with the early dismissal. Upon dismissing all of our children out of the school, I probably was able to depart a little bit before 3 o'clock. And Connections is literally a 2-minute walk from Mondawmin. So as I got to Gwynn Falls and Pennsylvania Avenue, which is the real ground zero, if you know Baltimore or know anything about the Uprising, right there at the corner of where Mondawmin Mall is. Once I approached that corner with about 100 officers in riot gear, formed a riot line, as they marched and approached the community. And the community were mostly youth. If you're familiar with the incident again on that day, Mondawmin is like Grand Central Station as far as transportation. All the transportation was canceled for that day. So none of the youth or individuals in that area were able to, that needed public transportation, were able to catch any public transportation. So it's kind of like they were trapped in. As I approached that corner, the start of tear gas began, and it just became a real volatile situation, if you will, as you had both opposing sides approaching each other, if you will. And I was a lot confused on that day of why we had individuals in riot gear when there wasn't any type of riot going on, which I felt like incited the riot. And since then, Police Commissioner Davis and other individuals have taken some verbal responsibility, at least it's saying that some of the officers did and the department did incite a lot of that negative activity that took place that day. So I immediately called for family and friends to respond and meet me at the location to try to get as many youth home and out of harm's way and women out of harm's way as possible. Ask them to go home and try to de-escalate as much negative influence as I could. And as time grew, a lot more individuals responded, and it was a historical event for a lot of reasons, and I hope that Baltimore is able to continue a progression towards positivity through it, as a lot of individuals decided to become more woke and conscious through the movement. In addition, one of the reasons that I attribute to the uprising taking place in Baltimore is because of individuals such as Tawanda Jones, myself, who was a victim of police brutality in 2013. We won a historical case and marched against Baltimore City Police Department. But individuals such as Tawanda Jones, the West Coalition, Baltimore Block, Leaders of a Beautiful Struggle, have continued to carry the political push and push the quota as far as what's acceptable and the voices being heard in Baltimore. So every Wednesday, such as this Wednesday, West Wednesdays are held, and to keep that spirit and keep that fight alive. And we'll continue to do that. We'll continue to push status quo and look for accountability and transparency in Baltimore.
Now I gotta get your thoughts on State's Attorney Mosby's press conference today. What was your thoughts on that?
I haven't got a chance to sit back and totally reflect on all of her sentiments in reference to
dismissing all the charges.
With that being said, I just have my own formulated, educated opinion, and I think it's unfortunate that we are in a judicial system where we can't have any accountability, when we have video footage, when we have first-hand witness accountability and things of this sort. We can't get any criminal accountability. I would like to give Attorney Mosby acclimates for her her initiation of the fight. Because it wasn't an easy thing to do. It was an unprecedented thing to do. And I don't take not having any convictions as a total loss, because just the fact that they got indicted and that we had some court cases around this was historical. So, you know, we gotta make history one day, one change at a time. Will we like some wins in this? Of course we would have liked some wins. That's inevitable. But we gotta take one step at a time. We gotta know that we can see a change and a difference coming just by electing someone in that will have the courage to do the indictment. So that's step one. The next thing we need is a judicial system that holds individuals on that side of the bar or that side of the line accountable as well. So it's a well-rounded fight that we in for, and so I give her acclimates, although we know the job wasn't completed.
I appreciate your time today, man.
Absolutely, I appreciate you taking the time.
All right. Hey, introduce yourself to the people, man.
Jay Muhammad, better known as just Muhammad.
Now we're gonna talk about keys to development, man.
Okay.
Tell me what it's about, man. How it got started, man.
Keys Development is something that we started about 15 years ago when we was young, just trying to do something for the kids in our community. So our motto was just keep encouraging our youth to succeed like the old heads did us. Each of us always had an old head, no matter what we was doing, good or bad, that would encourage us. So now we just try to take that on just to keep the love going. Bringing that 80s style that we had when we was young, keeping that going now in this day and age.
Now, as far as the program goes, who's all involved with the program?
And you got a lot of strong brothers and a lot of strong sisters involved in this program. The only people involved in this program is people that's from the community trying to give back to their community. That's it. You got people that's therapists, counselors, teachers, principals, advocates around the way, and just regular old families that want to do right for their kids and other people's kids. Coming collectively together to say, look, we can do something for our own. We don't need to go outside our community to do right for us.
Now, I gotta ask you, man, does it get discouraging sometimes, man, when you see the murders that happen so frequently, man?
I mean, if it's your passion, you're not necessarily gonna get discouraged. You'll get frustrated.
Okay.
You get frustrated sometimes. We never get discouraged. We get frustrated because we know that we need to do more. And we try every day to do what we can, but we need more people to join our effort. We need to be stronger within ourselves and have that resolve that when I get up in the morning, I know my job is hopefully to save somebody's life. And I might do that just by supporting somebody and getting somebody a job, or I might do that by grabbing up a young boy and telling them, shorty, do right, I care about you, I love you. Every day we're trying to save a life.
I got get your thoughts, man. Take me back to the day of the uprising that took place in Baltimore, and your thoughts on what happened today as far as the no convictions on the officers.
I mean, what we see is that there's a need. Put all of this to the side, there's a need for us to be impactful in our own communities and take control of the systems that govern us. Because clearly, there's systems that are put in place that either can support us and can harm us. And if we're not voicing our opinion in a way that really matters, that we have some control over it, we'll always have someone in control over us. So today and yesterday and the day before yesterday, we know that, look, it's our job to galvanize each other to do what we need to do for us, because we can't expect anybody else to do it for us.
What's up, man? I appreciate your time today,
You got it,
man.
family. Appreciate it.
Get back in your shirt, man, so you can see it. Keys Development, man. Keys Development, man. What's up, man? Appreciate your time
You
today.
got it, family. Appreciate you being out here.
All right.
All right.
DJ crashing over here.
I want you to be serious, baby.